Nicole Nesmith is a mother of 2 teenagers and social worker from Topeka. She is here today thanks to the encouragement of the love of her life, her fiance, Dave. Tonight she reads a story of survival.
As they choked back tears, they admitted they'd been cutting. For at least a month now, mostly on their legs where no one could see. Nothing so deep to require medical attention. They were trying desperately to hide their inner struggle. My beautiful and brilliant 13-year-old child, and no, I'm not biased, felt such pain and despair that cutting themselves seemed like the only way to stop the pain. They were ashamed, and I was in shock. I tried my best to hide my fear from my child, and I think even from myself. I was working on getting my degree in social work at the time, and I knew how serious self-harm could be. I wondered how we got to this place. Less than 6 months ago, my child showed no signs of mental illness. But after Christmas vacation of their 8th grade year, they began to have panic attacks. Terrible events of struggling to breathe, crying, and shaking, which seemed to come from nowhere. We eventually called our family doctor, and she prescribed an antidepressant. We thought it would magically take care of everything. But things got worse from there. Until finally a severe breakdown occurred one Saturday night in February during a snowstorm. My child didn't want to live anymore, or at least not live with this darkness that had enveloped them. We called the crisis line of our local community health center and were told they could not help. My child did not qualify for hospitalization, that because my child did not have a plan, we would have to wait to speak to someone on Monday. Things got worse the next day. My child was begging for help and felt that the world did not care, that they had no value, and no one wanted to help them. They went into the bathroom and came out shaking, saying they were trying to cut deeper so that maybe they could finally be worthy of assistance. My child now had a plan for suicide, and my heart was breaking. That was the night of their first hospitalization. There have been at least 13 more since then. Days, weeks, even months can lull me into a false sense of security. The demons have gone. But so far it seems at some point the fragile chemistry experiment fails and my child requires more help than outpatient treatment can provide. Funny thing, before I went back to school to get my degree in social work, I had never had the need for one. But now we have needed so many. You may have noticed that I've been using neutral pronouns, they, them, as I discuss my oldest child. My child identifies as being transgender, more specifically agender, and actually now we're using the word queer. They did not come out until at least a year after their mental health issues began, and I'll be honest, the mental health issues are way more challenging than being LGBT. We recently became foster parents, so now I have a second child too, who is also transgender, but that's another story. It has been 2 years since that first hospitalization. Sometimes just getting up in the morning and going into school is a monumental achievement. We celebrate these achievements as they come. Last November, my child celebrated a year free from self-harm. We had a party. Seriously, it was a potluck. Over 30 of our family and friends attended, supporting my child in both their struggles and successes. They say it takes a village to raise a child, but a child that battles mental health issues really takes a huge network of wonderful people. We are so fortunate to have that. My child thinks they are a disappointment to me, but I cannot imagine being more proud. I know how hard it is for them, always wondering when the peace will end and the illness returns. I marvel at my child's strength. I know sometimes they want to give up, even telling me how much better off I would be without them. But somehow they find the strength to keep fighting. There have been times where it felt like other mothers would judge me as I would discuss my child's struggle with depression and anxiety. They would almost quiz me on the symptoms and how it started. I would see the looks on their faces, how their eyes glanced around, sort of afraid to meet mine, as if having a child with mental health issues made me a bad parent, and somehow this was all my fault. I used to think that too. I wondered what I did wrong, getting divorced from their dad, finding a new love, or saying the wrong thing at the wrong time, but not anymore. My child is still here. They are still fighting, and for every day I can say that I have done something right.